Hi, Di. Good seeing you. I like your hat. I have a lot of memories of Diane. I guess I feel as though I've known you my whole life.
Al Pacino, the kid from the rough streets of the Bronx who carried both hunger and fire in his chest, would rise to become a name that Hollywood would never forget. His face bore the map of struggle. His voice quivered like a prayer meant for no one but the night. He didn't simply perform, he burned. Every stare carried weight, every pause thundered louder than applause. He didn't build a career, he built a temple. From The Godfather to Scent of a Woman, each role was carved from pain, fury, and brilliance. But even fire, no matter how fierce, grows tired. And behind the gold statues, the roaring crowds, and the endless acclaim, there existed a silence only one person ever truly understood. Diane Keaton, born beneath California's bright skies, carried her own quiet rebellion. She turned awkwardness into beauty, made fragility look fearless. Her laugh could light up a room, yet behind it lived a stillness that could break your heart without speaking a word. She was the kind of woman who didn't chase fame. Fame chased her. When their lives collided, it wasn't a script. It was lightning meeting rain. His storm, her shelter. The love between them burned quietly for decades, hidden beneath the noise of the world. And now, with her gone, the world turns to him, to the man she loved, waiting for a voice only he could give. If you've ever loved someone so deeply that their memory lives in your bones, don't forget to tap the like and subscribe buttons. Stories like theirs deserve to be remembered.
Before there was a legend, there was just a boy, Alfredo James Pacino, born April 25, 1940, into a Sicilian family whose dreams outweighed their means. When his father left before Al could form his first words, something broke inside him that no amount of applause would ever fix. His mother, Rose, carried him into the South Bronx, a place where ceilings leaked cold water, winters overstayed their welcome, and the walls could barely hold back the arguments of the night. The radiators hissed, but they never warmed. In those bleak nights, a small grace remained, the movie theater. The flicker of a projector became his escape. In the dark, surrounded by strangers, he learned that stories could give shape to loneliness. On the screen, larger-than-life faces showed him how to feel when real life felt unbearable. But the Bronx was no cradle. It was steel and frost. By 10, he faced pain head-on when a fall against a fence left him bleeding into the cold wind, hands slick with blood, whispering to no one. The scar closed. The helplessness stayed. His stomach often roared louder than his voice. Dinner some nights was bread soaked in watered milk. His mother would smile and claim she wasn't hungry, though her trembling hands told the truth. By 13, people called him Sonny, a restless kid trying to stay warm in a world made of ice. Cigarettes and cheap beer promised escape, but delivered regret. By 17, after one final fight with Rose, he walked away from school and into the raw hunger of the streets. He carried groceries, washed windows, and slept beneath glowing windows he could never step through. 3 friends, boys who shared his laughter, hunger, and smokes, didn't survive those years. Addiction claimed them before they turned 20. Pacino carried their memory like a bruise beneath the ribs. Drugs, alcohol, I probably wouldn't have made it if not for acting, he would later say quietly.
Acting didn't make him famous at first. It saved him. Every winter night, every bruise, every empty stomach became rehearsal for a man who would turn scars into art. The Bronx gave him pain, yes, but also truth. A truth that would one day echo through Michael Corleone's silence, Frank Slade's rage, and the haunted stillness that made audiences tremble. If Al Pacino's early years were sculpted from cold and noise, Diane Keaton's childhood was shaped by quiet ache. Born January 5, 1946, beneath the soft Los Angeles sun, she grew up in a house that looked perfect from the outside. A father who built bridges, a mother whose dreams never left the kitchen. Dorothy Diane Keaton Hall, Mrs. Los Angeles, 1955, once glowed like a star, but the applause she craved was replaced by dishes, schedules, and polite smiles. Inside, emotions were not spoken. They lived in silence, so thick it pressed against the walls. I grew up in a family that didn't talk about feelings, she would later admit. We just lived inside them. Diane watched her mother's light dim slowly, not through tragedy, but repetition. That warning ignited something inside her. While other girls practiced how to be wives, she planned how to run. She didn't shout her rebellion. She built it. Teachers called her unruly. Classmates whispered odd. But she was already teaching herself that difference could be armor. She said, "I learned early. If no one hears you, you become the echo yourself." Her escape came under the dim light of a school stage. Playing Blanche Dubois, she felt seen for the first time. Acting wasn't just an escape, it was the breaking of silence. At 20, she packed a suitcase and left California behind. She dropped Hall and carried her mother's maiden name as a tribute, Keaton. In New York, she walked miles between auditions and rented rooms, surviving on coffee and stubbornness. The girl who once drowned in silence became a woman who made the world listen. She carried her mother's unfulfilled dreams and turned them into monuments of truth. While Diane carved a voice from silence, Al carved one from fire. His rebellion was louder, but both fought their way through different storms. He worked nights, slept on theater floors, and let the projector hum cradle him. Concrete and cold became his companions. But at HB Studio, someone told him what no one ever had. The chaos inside him could be turned into meaning. Lee Strasberg's Actors Studio sharpened that raw chaos into precision. Hunger became fuel. Rejection became steel. Then came 1968. The Indian Wants the Bronx. His performance set the room on fire. The Obie Award followed, and the boy no one saw finally stepped into the light. Fate then brought him Martin Bregman, a man who saw a volcano where others saw a nobody. Broadway's Does a Tiger Wear a Necktie followed. A Tony Award. A belief. Maybe this dream wasn't madness. Hollywood didn't want him for The Godfather. Too small. Too unknown. But Coppola saw what others didn't. A quiet storm. The restaurant scene became his reckoning. He sat still, breathing like a man about to cross a line he'd never return from. When the gun went off, so did the world's doubts. And somewhere between takes, he met Diane Keaton. She was sunlight to his shadow. She teased him out of his silence. For the first time, he smiled without performing. What started as quiet glances between takes became something extraordinary. Their chemistry bled through the screen. When the film wrapped, neither wanted to say goodbye. "You'll call, right?" she said with that warm smile. He nodded. That moment became the beginning of everything. Fame came like a golden tide. The Godfather made them stars overnight.
Reporters chased them. Flashbulbs popped like fireworks. And behind the noise, two weary souls found something rare. Refuge. They weren't perfect. They didn't need to be. He misplaced his keys. She laughed too loud in cafes. They walked through Central Park with paper cups of coffee. Burnt pasta, Sinatra on the radio, silence that didn't need filling. She made me feel seen, Pacino would say years later. Their love wasn't scripted. It was fragile, human, breathtakingly real. But every bright flame throws a shadow. Distance grew. Missed calls, empty beds, letters that stopped being answered. Fame stretched their lives across oceans. She wanted forever. He was terrified of it. I wanted a life, she admitted. He was still trying to survive his. The night she left wasn't loud, no shouting, just the sound of a zipper and rain. He watched her silhouette vanish into the storm. "He broke my heart," she said softly, "but he didn't mean to." Hollywood mourned their breakup as if it were a national tragedy. People whispered, if they couldn't make it, who could? But love doesn't always end with betrayal. Sometimes it ends with exhaustion. Years passed. Their names still orbit each other. In 1990, filming The Godfather Part 3, their old rhythm returned. Two souls who had once burned together, now walking through their ruins with grace. Do I regret not marrying her? Pacino paused. Every day. She was the one that got away.
Their love didn't end. It transformed into memory, into the ache behind his eyes, the laughter behind hers. It became part of their art, woven into every performance, every silence. On October 11th, 2025, Diane Keaton slipped quietly from the world she once lit up. After facing skin cancer with the same strength she brought to every role, she left at 79. The world paused. Los Angeles woke under a softer sun. Tributes flooded in, flowers outside theaters, trembling words from actors who grew braver because of her. Directors called her a compass. Fans called her a friend. Her family said it simply. She left the world the way she lived in it, full of light. Broadway dimmed its lights. Film reels paused. Somewhere in a dusty theater, people laughed and cried through Annie Hall again. Al Pacino, now 85, stood by his window in silence after the call came. "She had that glow," he whispered. "Even the sky feels dimmer now." He released only a few words. "She was my friend, my light, and a part of me that time could never take." Theirs was not a love story of forever, but of reverence. What began on a soundstage in 1971 has never truly ended. Their bond lived beyond cameras, beyond applause. People around the world remembered her not only as an actress, but as a mirror of humanity. Awkward, luminous, fearless. She never pretended to be perfect, and that's why she was unforgettable. At sunset, fans gathered at the TCL Chinese Theater, leaving hats, candles, and flowers. Across the country, Pacino sat in quiet reflection. He didn't need to say a word. Everyone already knew. She was the one that got away, he'd once said. But now those words weren't regret. They were a benediction. Their love became what many never find, something unfinished, but eternal. Diane Keaton's passing closed more than a chapter. It marked the end of an era, a reminder that brilliance can be soft, that love doesn't need forever to be real. Love like theirs doesn't vanish. It changes shape, from touch to memory to legend. The story isn't over. It's just learned to breathe in silence.